Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about this clip that was sent to me. Yet again, thank you to all you guys out there for sending me this stuff, helping support my channel. Shout out to Stofia for sending me this clip, man. And it's, it's more the same. I don't know if this is serious. It's like a skit. It's like the trial of Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Maybe you guys have seen this before. I think the page is called Coup and the Naticus Show, or COO and the Natic. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. We're going to talk about what they're talking about in this clip. Like I said, it's a trial of Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. And this one guy is, speaking up for LeBron James in this trial and basically trying to trash Michael Jordan with the white guy stuff. And he said that Michael Jordan played a lot of white guys. We're going to talk about this video. It's more the same, guys. The white guy angle that we're going with here. Like I said, I never heard this stuff when I was growing up. But now, this is what we hear all the time from the LeBron James fans. Kids who never played basketball a day in their lives, never play sports. They're going to say that Michael Jordan played against a lot of white guys. Oh, God, we're going to talk about some of the things I wrote down that this clown said in this clip that was sent to me. Once again, shout out to Stofie and all you guys out there. And you guys, I want to thank everyone across the world, everyone across the states. Thank you very much. Like I said, to all you guys that continue to come through, support the channel. Like I said, it means a lot, guys. I want to send a special thanks out to Lomo12. Forgive me if I'm messing your name up. Lomo12, always coming through. Thank you very much. I'm going to send a special thanks out to Bookmark, always coming through with the super thanks. Shout out to Bookmark. Thank you very much. I want to send another special thanks out to Gundam U for coming through yet again with the super thanks. And I want to send a special thanks out to Samaya K. Thank you very much. Shout out to Samaya K, who's always been a true supporter of my channel, always hitting me up. Thanks to all you guys out there, man. It's truly humbling, guys. It means a lot, man, for real. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I tell you, boy, it never ceases to amaze me, and it never ends. It just continues. And sometimes we get some new stuff. Like I told you the other day, the first time I heard that Michael Jordan was the luckiest player to ever live. But most of the time, it's the same stuff repackaged or, repurposed, kind of like recycled, right? The same things over and over again. And they've heard these same things from these weirdos like Nick Wright and the Kendrick Perkins and the Shannon Sharps and the Colin Cowherds and the J.J. Reddicks, the Gilbert Arenases, and a lot of these other clowns out here that have these pages and these channels. They just say the same things over and over again. And like I said, it shows you and proves these guys did not watch basketball in the 80s and 90s. They weren't even around for this stuff. And like I said, I look at these clowns. I mean, look at this dude. They never played sports, man. These guys were never athletic. Like I said, they never competed. They don't even know what it means to go out there and do this kind of stuff. They just have no clue. So I'm telling you, what they're giving you is zero perspective, zero context. They don't care about the NBA's history. They don't even know about the NBA's history. Why would they care to know about the NBA's history? They don't care. They just want to talk about LeBron James and celebrate LeBron James. They're not going to hold him to any standard, but then they'll hold Michael Jordan to a much higher standard. And the other day I posted a photo of the 1996 Chicago Bulls, right? And the caption I put was, looks like a lot of white guys on this team. And I had some clown comment to me, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. Those white guys are better athletes than you. This dude completely missed what I was saying here. These are weirdos, people who just want to say something to say something. They have no clue about my channel, no clue what I'm doing here. And like I said, they completely missed the point that I was making there. Because all I hear is that Michael Jordan played against slow and athletic white guys. Like this guy is saying in this clip that I saw. He says Michael Jordan played a lot of white guys. A lot of white guys. So when I was posting the photo of the 96 Bulls, this is what I'm highlighting. So Michael Jordan played against a lot of white guys, but he didn't play with no white dudes? No, I highlighted the fact that the 96 Bulls team had a lot of white dudes on it. Guys like Steve Kerr, Luke Longley, Judd Bushler. These are some of the guys that are on that team, man. Those are white dudes, aren't they? But Michael Jordan, he didn't play with white dudes. He just played against white guys. That's the point I was making there, to highlight these guys are a bunch of clowns. And like I've told you, they're trying to knock professional athletes as not being athletes because they're white. Remember that. Not because they looked into their careers or they looked into their, their childhood were these guys athletes in high school or any of this kind of stuff, college? They don't even look into this stuff. They just say they're not athletes because they're white. That's where we're at now. You white, you Ben Affleck. You white, you're not athletic. Shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't we be thinking to ourselves, damn, how did this white dude get in the NBA? He must be pretty damn athletic. He must be pretty good if this white dude's in the NBA, according to LeBron James fans side of things. Because white guys can't play basketball, they're not athletic. So how the hell they get in? They must be pretty damn good, in my opinion, then. If the white dudes are in the NBA, they must be pretty damn good. All right? Because they're white. So anyway, let's think about what they're saying here. Because like I said, when you talk about Michael Jordan playing against white guys, but I can highlight he played with white guys too, right? They don't want to talk about that. They'll say that Michael Jordan's era was trash. It was weak, watered down, all this stuff. Then he must have played with weak teammates. Like, it can't be both ways, right? They'll celebrate Scottie Pippen, pump him up, but then tear down everyone else. Weird stuff, man. The era was weak, but Michael Jordan's team was great. It can't be both. He must have been playing with weak, trash teammates then. He must have been playing with plumbers and taxi cab drivers. So like I said, guys, in this clip, I don't know if these guys are being clowns. I mean, they are being clowns. I don't know if they're trying to be funny, if this is a joke, but it's a trial of LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. And you got, guys arguing for LeBron James and guys arguing for Michael Jordan, which is really corny because there is no argument to be made for Michael Jordan. There's no argument to be made for LeBron James. There's no debate here. I don't make an argument for Michael Jordan to explain and somehow get people to see that he's greater than LeBron James. I think that is all I got to do is say Michael Jordan. I mean, LeBron James, come on, man. It's not even close. Not even close. Anyone who thinks there's a debate here or thinks it's close or think LeBron James is right behind Michael, you're so far from, reality. You're so lost. And this is what I'm talking about. You just don't even have a clue the history of the game. And you're not going to hold LeBron James to the same standard that we hold them other great players to. That's why I say LeBron James not worthy. Let's go through this now. So like I said, he starts off by saying Michael Jordan played a lot of white guys. Then he says that's not the NBA at its toughest. So he's saying, the NBA at its toughest is not a league full of white dudes. And Michael Jordan played in a league full of white dudes now. Now Michael Jordan played in a league full of white guys. And even if he did, what does that even mean? Who cares? So we're borderline being racist now. It's funny. Black folks are over here talking about racism, right? And we all get that. There's a lot of racism in the country, a lot of racism in the world. But black folks would be upset about people, stereotyping them or this and that, but then we go to stereotype white people and be racist against white people in this manner as far as sports goes. I thought sports was supposed to be a unifier. Was supposed to bring people together, not divide people and not to come up with these weird narratives and lies. I just don't get this stuff. So that's not the NBA that's toughest. I think we can all agree that Michael Jordan's 90s, I'm not talking about the 80s, let's talk about the 90s. Michael Jordan's 90s was very, very competitive. I've never told you guys that the greatest era of all time, the most competitive era of all time. I've told you the most popular era of all time, and I've told you it was a damn sure competitive era, man. Very competitive. I did the numbers, we did the research, I did the videos, I gave you guys the facts, man. From 1990 to 1998, East versus West, there was a 3-game difference. The East won 3 games over the West in head-to-head matchups. So that shows and proves that both conferences was comparable. There was a bounce there. It wasn't like, this conference was beating up on this conference. And I've told you guys, because in the 2000s to about the mid-2010s, right, from 05 to 2015, I did the numbers, the West was over 400 games better than the East. So sometimes when we talk about the 2000s teams and some of these teams from the 2010s, right, and they'll say, the Western Conference in the 2000s, the early 2010s was very stacked. And yes, it was very competitive. But they'll use the 50-win records to highlight this stuff. And I tell you guys all the time, yes, they were very good teams. But you can't just say, the 50 wins qualifies them as being a good team in this regard. Because I've told you the East was so damn weak, the West was stacking up wins against these crap teams in the East. So, yeah, there might have been some of these Western Conference teams that were 6th, 7th, 8th seed that had almost 50 wins, and teams that had 50 wins, and you're like, look how many 50-win teams there were. But some of those teams were only getting 50 wins because the East was so crappy. There was no balance. The West was so much more dominant than the East. It was an absolute joke. We're talking about the 90s, Michael Jordan's era, guys, and we're talking about the NBA at its toughest. It has nothing to do with the white or black players in the NBA league or foreign guys in the league. It has nothing to do with this stuff, man. It's about the kinds of players that are in the league, the kinds of competitors that are in the league, and how much of a professional these guys are. They were much more professional back then. They were obviously much more tougher and much more competitive back then, and that's what made the league so great. That's why it was the golden era, because you had great players that had games, that showed up to work, that competed, that played with the love of the game, so it helped push the game forward, make the game, great and watchable. great teams. You had coaches. They ran systems, right? Not every team did the same thing. You'd have a bunch of teams chucking up threes all over the place. You had teams that ran certain systems here, teams that ran certain systems there, teams that were full court pressing, teams that were half court trapping, right? You had all this kind of stuff, man. You had legendary defensive guys. You had legendary high flyers, right? I mean, just rebounders. You had enforcers, right? You had all this stuff in the league. The game was physical, right? So you had different things that different people could latch onto, right? Maybe you didn't like the physicality, but maybe you liked some of the high flyers. Maybe you liked some of the assist men, the flashy passers that they had back in them days, right? The great assist men. There ain't no great assist men now. I mean, Nikola Jokic is leading the league in assists right now. I mean, that's an absolute joke. You're not leading the league in assists in an era with guys like John Stockton or the Magic Johnson, the Isaiah Thomases, the Jason Kidds, right? I mean, it's a different level, guys. Kevin Johnson. So we're talking about that era was obviously competitive, man, because it's the golden era for a reason, man, because you had great players, great teams. So he says this, LeBron James, he said Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, James Harden. These are names he brings up. You can name some of the greatest two guards and small forwards to ever play the game. So he says you can name some of the greatest two guards and small forwards to ever play the game, and then he names Carmelo Anthony, KD, and James Harden. James Harden ain't one of the greatest two guards. James Harden. We're going back to the James Harden thing. You guys are still pumping up James Harden, the greatest playoff choker of his era. You're pumping up James Harden, who's nowhere on the level of Clyde Drexler, right? No one on the level of Clyde Drexler, guys. No one on the level, to me, of Reggie Miller. These guys played in the 90s, did they not? I'm pretty sure they did. He doesn't even mention these guys. But you talk about James Harden, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant. Carmelo Anthony, like I said, to me, I'm not a Carmelo Anthony guy, guys. I do not believe Carmelo Anthony's that great, man. He was a great scorer. But to me, he did nothing else. Kevin Durant, what do these guys do elite other than shoot the ball and score? I'm trying to figure this out. And once again, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, their scoring ability, in the 2010s? Not impressed. Not impressed at all. What's Carmelo Anthony won? What did he lead a team to? Kevin Durant, what is he doing? I'm confused here. Kevin Durant's career high is 55. I'm not impressed with these guys, man. I'm really not. That's the best guys you can name. James Harden, Carmelo Anthony, and Kevin Durant. They love to go to Kevin Durant, man. They love to bring him up like there's no greater player from Michael Jordan's era than Kevin Durant. I mean, my goodness. Kevin Durant's nowhere close to Michael Jordan, nowhere close to Charles Barkley, nowhere close to a Shaquille O'Neal. These are the guys that played in the 90s. To me, give me Penny Hardaway all day, every day over Kevin Durant, man. But, we know he got hurt and stuff like that. I told you, James Harden can't shine his shoes at Clyde Drexler. But you name these guys, weird stuff. And then he goes, you know who they played against? LeBron, right? So he's trying to highlight that those guys played against LeBron James, man. Really. I'm so impressed with that. And he goes, you know who Jordan played against? And this is where we go getting all crazy now. Dan Marley, Craig Elo, and Danny Ainge. It's so funny to me that they can only name those three guys. Every once in a while, you get someone to bring up Jeff Hornacek. But these are the same three names you always hear. Dan Marley, Craig Elo, and Danny Ainge. And I've talked about Danny Ainge before. And I've told you guys, Danny Ainge is more athletic than your favorite player, guys. He is. This man was a three-sport All-American. He could have played professional football, probably. He was drafted by the Detroit Tigers, I believe, at a second base. I think he was a second baseman. He was an All-American wide receiver, not quarterback. Right? He was a white guy. He was a quarterback. Nah, he was a wide receiver. You know how athletic you got to be a wide receiver, All-American, guys? In Oregon. So, and obviously we know what he did as far as basketball goes. So the man was a three-sport athlete. Your favorite athlete wasn't a three-sport athlete like that when they were in high school, guys. I'm telling you guys right now. As a matter of fact, Danny Ainge was the first player in Oregon State history to have that status in three of those sports at the same time. The first player in Oregon State history. But he's not athletic. Michael Jordan played against Dan Marley, Craig Elo, then Danny Ainge. Dan Marley is a competitor, man. Danny Ainge was a competitor. Craig Elo was a competitor. You can say whatever you want about how these guys looked. You can talk about their stats, their lack of accolades. That's great, man. Once again, them dudes was competitors. You can say whatever you want about them, but you can't say they wasn't competitors. You can't say them dudes ain't give effort. Dan Marley's a two-time all-defensive team member, right? Multiple-time all-star in an era where it was really hard to make an all-defensive team. Dan Marley in this era is probably a 7, 8-time all-defensive team member. All right? We think about what Dan Marley was doing. The man's got more all-defensive teams than Klay Thompson does. More, just as much as all-defensive team is Andre Iguodala. These are guys that celebrate as being elite defenders of this era of the last 10, 15 years. Dan Marley was better than dudes, man. He was better than Klay Thompson, guys. I hate to tell you that, but he was. He was betting Klay Thompson on defense. They celebrate Klay Thompson like that. Dan Marley was that dude, man. Like I said, he was tough, 6'6", 220 pounds, man. Thunder Dan, 3-and-D, pump fake you and go to the hole and dunk it on you. Dudes were competitors. We're knocking Craig Elo. I want you guys to remember that shot that Michael Jordan hit in 1989. I want you to go look what Craig Elo did the play before that. Craig Elo came through with a big-time play, man. Hit that layup with like seconds to go, right? They thought they were going to win the game. Craig Elo was a competitor, man. He was out there competing against Michael Jordan, man. Nothing came easy. And like I said, these guys are more worried about the name on the back of the jersey. Oh, Craig Elo, ha, 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 ha. He's white. So LeBron James struggled against Jason Terry, struggled against J.J. Barea, guys like Lance Stevenson, Dylan Brooks. These are the guys going against LeBron James, but you're knocking Dan Marley, Craig Elo, and Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is a winner. Every team he was on was a winning team. He was on the 92 Trailblazers in the finals, right? I think he was like 5th or 4th in a Sixth Man of the Year that year. In 1993, the very next season when he went to the Phoenix Suns, right? They were in the finals also, and he was a key member. Oh, so was Dan Marley on that team. Interesting that these guys are on winning teams. They're winners. They contribute to winning. They make winning plays. They hustle. That's what these guys did. They were key members, key role players to quality teams. You know what's funny, too, about Dan Marley and Danny Ainge, what people won't tell you because they just want to knock these guys and trash them for being white. I don't knock these guys for being white, but all right. Danny Ainge, when he retired, he was the league leader in NBA three-pointers made in the postseason, guys. That's right. Danny Ainge was the NBA league leader in NBA's history. Most threes made in the postseason. All right, now we know they bought the NBA three-point line in 1980. So from that point, from when Danny Ainge retired, which was like 94, whatever he retired, that was, he was the NBA's all-time leader in 3 points made in the postseason. Not Larry Bird or some of these other guys. It was Danny Ainge. And you know who broke his record, guys? Like a year later? Dan Marley did. So these were the guys that had the NBA record for most three-pointers made in an NBA career in the postseason, guys. First it was Danny Ainge, and then his record was broken by Dan Marley like a year or two later. But we're going to knock these guys. They were just trash. They were just white. He says these were starters, by the way, so now he's knocking them for being starters. The NBA was so weak, those were starters. Really? That's how weak the NBA was, that those guys were starters? No, those guys were legit. Once again, but you don't know. So he goes, the competition was stiff. So now they're making a joke that the competition wasn't that stiff. But it's funny to me how he only named those 3 guys as if those were the only 3 guys in the entire NBA when Michael Jordan played that he went against. And it's funny how they'll name Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, James Harden, but then you'll just go to straight shooting guards from Michael Jordan. You'll just cherry pick these players. This is LeBron James fan stuff, guys. They cherry pick this stuff. Right? Because his narrative, his argument wouldn't be as good if you named Clyde Drexler, if you named Reggie Miller, right? If you named Mitch Richmond, right? We just went over this the other day. Like, if you name these guys who are not white, but play in the NBA that are Hall of Famers, that were legit players, then all of a sudden your narrative falls apart, right? So they won't name those guys. They won't name a Gary Payton, right, as a guard. They won't name any of the other dudes. Gerald Wilkins. He won't name John Starks. He won't name some of the guys that Michael Jordan went against as a young player. Sidney Moncrief, right? Was he white? He won't name Michael Cooper. Was Michael Cooper white? Or Alvin Robertson? Was he a white dude? How about Joe Dumars? Was Joe Dumars white? I just named like 10 black dudes. Once again, who cares about the skin of these guys? But I just named like 10 black dudes that Michael Jordan went against that were either elite defensive guys or just all-time greats. But his name's Dan Marley, Danny Ainge, and Craig Elo, as if those were the only guys that Michael Jordan ever played against. But the funny thing is that he acts as if those were the only guys on those teams. He won't mention other guys on these teams. Danny Ainge and Michael Jordan faced in, like I said, in 1993 in the NBA Finals, in 1992 in the NBA Finals, and in 1986 in that first round, or 87 in that first round against the Boston Celtics. He won't talk to you about, he was being guarded by Dennis Johnson mostly in that series against Celtics, was he not? He's being guarded by everybody. He's being guarded by Larry Bird. He's being guarded by Danny Ainge, Dennis Johnson. It didn't matter. They were double, triple teaming. It didn't matter who they threw at that man. He was killing everybody out there. That was the problem. So we're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're talking about Craig Elo. Well, Ron Harper was also there also. But Ron Harper couldn't do anything against Michael Jordan, right? No one could do anything against Michael Jordan. They had Larry Nance trying to stop Michael. Remember the inbounds on that shot in 1989? They were double teaming him with Craig Elo and Larry Nance, and it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough. It didn't matter who they put out there, Michael Jordan. Man, Gerald Wilkins, remember they brought Gerald Wilkins in to be the Jordan stopper? It didn't make a difference. John Starks, like I said, it didn't matter who it was. Joe Dumas. All these guys were going to get the business. They were all going to get it because Mike Jordan was going to bring it. He was going to compete against Joe Dumars the same way he competed against Craig Elo. And Danny Ainge, the same way he competed against Gary Payne, the same way he's going to compete against Jeff Hornacek and Dan Marley. Michael Jordan didn't care about the name of the back jersey. He didn't give a damn about these guys' skin color. Only we're LeBron James fans to say this kind of stuff, man. So those are the only white guys in the NBA. Right? They won't mention Chris Mullin. Chris Mullin was white, but, let's not shout out Chris Mullin because he wasn't nobody, right? No. I mean, I just don't understand. They just bring up these weird, these are the same names. The same names over and over and over again. It's all you guys know. You don't know the history of the NBA. And to try to knock an entire era of the 90s as being weak because of 3 white dudes that you named, I can name a bunch more white dudes. Like I said, Michael Jordan played with white guys. So you guys pump up Steve Kerr as the greatest shooter of the era, which is not even close. You guys pump him up now to be the Steph Curry of the 90s. Wasn't he a white dude? He was a white journeyman. That's who Steve Kerr was. A white journeyman who wasn't even an athletic dude like that. And I told you, he wasn't even good at shooting 3-pointers for the Bulls in the finals. But he played with a white dude. How about John Paxson? John Paxson wasn't a white guy? John Paxson that was Michael Jordan's starting backcourt teammate. John Paxson, white as hell, but we're not going to knock John Paxson, though, because he played with Michael Jordan. We're going to pump up Paxson. Oh, he saved Michael Jordan. He saved Michael Jordan in a final scenario where the Bulls are up 3-2, and in the fourth quarter where Michael Jordan scored 9 of the 12 Bulls points. 9 of the 12. And all of the 9 leading up to that 3 by John Paxson. But Paxson saved Jordan, the white dude. How about Judd Bushler, who played meaningful minutes in the finals? Judd Bushler was a white dude. You ever heard of Judd Bushler? Nope. Right? How about Luke Longley? He wasn't a white dude. He's from Australia, so does that qualify him as white? Tony Kukoc wasn't white? No, he's foreign. He's not white. He was a white dude, was he not? Michael Jordan played with that dude. Bob Hansen. You guys know what Bob Hansen was? He was a white dude that played on the Chicago Bulls. Played minutes on the Bulls. Will Perdue, a white dude who played on the Bulls in the finals. Michael Jordan was winning with the white guys that you're trying to knock. And those white guys I named are not as good as the white guys that you named. You named better white dudes than the guys that I named. You named legit athletes, legit competitors. Those guys were athletes, man. Goodness gracious, man. Like I said, we're going to be racist now. That's what we're doing. We're bringing racism now into basketball conversation because that's how we determine whether or not a player is good or not. A lot of white guys in the NBA, but he only named 3 of them, 4 of them. Couldn't name any more but 3 guys. All the other guys in the NBA, Hakeem Olajuwon was white. I mean, let's think about the top 10 players of the 90s. Let's think about some of the top 10 guys that we would consider top 10 players of the 90s, guys. Let's think about this now. Who's the only white guy you can think of that's in that grouping? John Stockton? Who else? Michael Jordan, he's black. Hakeem Olajuwon's black. Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, he's a black guy. Shaquille O'Neal's a black dude. Penny Hardaway's a black guy. Jason Kidd's light-skinned, but he is black. Right? I mean, these guys played. Reggie Miller's a black dude. Charles Barkley's a black dude. Karl Malone's a black guy. I mean, like I said, John Stockton, the only white guy you could probably name that's a top 10 player of the 90s. Chris Mullin, maybe he's borderline top 10 player. 2 white dudes, and he's legit dudes right there. I'm just saying, like, when you think about guys like Sean Kemp and the Gary Paynes, the Dominique Wilkins, I'm just Robert Parrish. Kevin McHale was a really good white dude. I mean, what are we saying here? I don't get it. Let's look at some of the, whatever, man. I'm done, man. I can't anymore. This is insane. I'm dumber reading this stuff off, guys. You guys know these are the facts, man. The competition was fierce. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.